So I made it last night. I was able to find a campsite, and I got here before dark. I was able to set my tent up, and everything was freaking good. And it has been so long since I have been camping like this, not in the van, but camping. There is a sense of peace and calm that one gets, that I get when I get out into a place like this. And now that I'm over 50 and I am, pretty much retired, I'm gonna do more of this because I think camping is one of the most underutilized things that we do in the last third of our life. The first and most important thing for me when I'm out here is I am off of the grid. There is no cell reception. I don't have a satellite phone, so there's no way of getting a hold of me, and I can't get a hold of people. And that's a little scary, but it's actually really nice. But more important than that, I'm off of the news cycle. There is no Twitter or Facebook, and I'm not getting texts about things that maybe could wait. The second thing about camping that I absolutely love is this sense of self-sufficiency. Look, I know I'm not really self-sufficient. It's not like I'm Grizzly Adams or Jeremiah Johnson and out here fending for myself with a musket and some a big ass knife. Okay, that's not the case. I have the Subaru, it's full of food, I have a tent, a sleeping bag, I have all of that stuff, but I am not at home. It just makes me feel a little bit more self-sufficient, and I kind of like that. Another thing I love about camping is the pace of life. Everything you do out here takes longer. When I'm at home, the coffee maker goes off and it fills the carafe, and I wake up and there's hot coffee. Well, out here it's a little bit different. It's a process, and it takes me a while to get that cup of coffee. And everything from setting up and taking down the tent to rolling that tent up to stuffing the sleeping bag, all of these things, they force me into this slower pace of life that I find really fabulous. So when I was young, my family, camping was not one of the things that we did. But as I got into high school and my early years of college, I started to backpack. And I backpacked quite a bit. And I just loved the feeling that came in being outdoors. And I wanted to do this my whole life. Well, I worked and I got married, and then our first child, my oldest daughter, Alessandra, she was born with disabilities. She has cerebral palsy. So one of the things about having a child with special needs, as you're raising them, you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work for them. And at the time, I just didn't see how camping was going to be a thing for Alessandra. But as she got older, it actually became something that she does with her peers and really, really loves. So I have a little regret, I guess, about that. It's been a long time since I have camped. And as someone who is over 50 and recently retired, I really want to continue to do this. And if you're wondering about Betty, where my wife is, well, she wasn't quite ready for this camping trip, because this camping trip is kind of the shakedown cruise. I know we did the van trip, and that was a different experience. I want to do more of this camping thing where we set up a base camp and then we do day hikes and kind of travel around an area. I wanted to make sure I had this all kind of figured out before I brought my bride, because if it was a bumpy ride, I might not get her back for a second camping trip. So for most of us, I'm guessing within a day's drive, you could be camping. And it's not something that you should neglect in this last third of your life. Roughing it a little bit, sleeping on the ground, eating camp food, all of these things, you can do it. And it is such a great way to kind of chill and get back in touch with nature.